Hi, I'm Will from Tested.
I'm Norm from Tested.
Norm, it is iPhone 4S today. We
Not
have it
launch
right
day.
now.
We've
No.
had it for a weekend.
We were busy. We
Yes.
had other things going, but
other
I
things.
spent a lot of time on Sunday with this. I am quite impressed with the iPhone 4S. Just out of the gate, it looks exactly the same as an iPhone 4.
Yeah, is that the 4 or the 4S?
This is the 4S.
Oh, you should have done Psych Out.
Oh,
should have been like, actually, that's not the 4.
You mean this is really the? Wait, I don't even know which one. The off one
That's
was
the first
on?
thing you do when you get the
Yeah.
4S. Can you spot the differences?
Brad picked it out immediately.
Okay.
I wasn't able to tell the difference, but I also was, operating on very low sleep and, all sorts of other things. Basically, the only thing that's different from a physical perspective is that the buttons on the side are in a different spot, and the antenna bands are in different areas on the edges of the phone.
That's the difference
Nobody's
between the
gonna know.
launch 4. For the Verizon 4,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same bands,
So,
same volume buttons.
important things to know if you have an iPhone 4 and you want to bring your stuff over. The launch iPhone 4 cases don't work with this. You have to use a 4S case or a universal case.
Yeah.
So another $35 to Incase or whoever your case provider is. Other stuff that's changed. The hardware.
Inside.
Yeah, the inside. This has the same A5 CPU. It's a dual-core ARM CPU that was in the iPad 2. In browsing test, it's like 33% faster.
Yeah, so
SunSpider, stuff like that.
It's like 2,400 milliseconds for the iPhone
Versus
4S.
3,400 and change.
Yeah, 36 for the iPhone 4.
Yeah.
Definitely faster on the 4S.
And you do actually notice that speed increase in browsing. In
Yeah.
other stuff, it's a little bit less noticeable. It is, the clock speeds, according to the benchmarks that people have run, seem to be about 200 megahertz lower, so it's 800 megahertz
Than the
versus a
iPad 2.
gigahertz than the iPad 2.
Apple will never say that it's actually 800 megahertz, but that's what everyone, based on testing,
Yeah,
assumed.
exactly.
So when Apple released iPhone 3GS a couple years ago, it was noticeably faster than the 3G.
Yeah, twice as fast in a lot
Yeah,
of
we
things.
loaded Peggle, and it was so much faster. Peggle today loads almost instantaneously on the iPhone 4.
Like
so
that.
let's test it with Scribblenauts. It's a game that came out last week.
Yeah.
And let's see how much faster it is on
kind of a
the
slow
4S.
loader.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So
All right,
3, 2, 1, go.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go. And
No
let's see.
touchy.
Already faster
Yeah.
on the 4S. And how does this compare to the iPad 2 version?
It feels very comparable to the iPad 2. Even though the clock speed's a little bit lower, you end up with there's fewer pixels to draw on the iPhone 4,
Yeah.
Or 4S rather, and the experience ends up being about the same. I mean, I couldn't really tell a difference.
There you go. It's not night and day, but the point is you will notice the speed increase with iPhone 4's A5.
It's much more noticeable in web browsing and stuff like that than it is in actually launch times and stuff like that. Depending on, if you load something really heavy like Rage or Infinity Blade or something like that, then you kind of feel it a lot more. in there.
A5 makes a difference.
Yeah.
What another feature enables is Wi-Fi mirroring.
Yeah, we're using that right now. This is really neat. If you have an Apple TV, you've updated it to the most recent version of the firmware, you can bust over here to the second, like everybody knows about this screen, which is where the media controls are. You go one further, and you have Apple TV with mirroring.
Yeah.
So instead of just being able to pipe video through, which is what we've always done in the past, now you can actually mirror the display for the phone, or the iPad 2 for that matter, straight across the Wi-Fi's to your Apple TV.
And that's indicated
second generation.
by the blue bar at the top.
That's what the blue bar at the top means.
Very strange having that blue bar.
It's going to revolutionize App of the Day.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that.
But what it does affect is battery life.
Actually battery life in general on the 4S is noticeably worse than the 4, especially on Wi-Fi. It seems like I haven't been out in the world too much with it yet because obviously on Sunday I didn't leave the house. I'll be
On
perfectly
Wi-Fi
frank.
browsing, you're not going to get as much battery life. But 3G Talk, Apple claims that you do get more
Yeah,
hours of talk.
I think it's because of the new chipset. Literally, I know I could watch the battery go down. Laying in bed, using this on Wi-Fi, I noticed much more battery loss. Part of that is because they set the brightness to default at like 75% of overall brightness, so it's super, super, super bright. I turned that down. It's gotten a little bit better, but it is noticeably inferior to the iPhone 4 as it stands right now.
All right. Aside from the new intended design, obviously there's a new chip inside that lets you use both CDMA and GSM.
Yeah.
You got to buy it from one of three
Yeah, but
carriers.
when you buy it in the United States, at least right now, when you buy it, it's locked to the carrier you buy it from. There's no unlocked version of the phone as we sit right now.
The other really big difference in terms of hardware is the camera.
Yeah, so this little guy right here in the back, instead of being 5 megapixels, is 8 megapixels now. The camera also launches incredibly faster than it has before.
The lenses, it's a different lens, but it doesn't look any different on the back from a physical standpoint.
No, it looks exactly the same. It's a 5-element lens, 8 megapixel sensor. They're saying that you can do 8x10 blow-ups with this. I haven't tried that yet. The pictures look really nice, and you can do 1080p video, which is pretty
let's
cool.
load the camera app. Let's actually do a quick comparison.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it from the lock screen, actually.
Okay. I'll also do it from the lock screen.
Yeah, let's get it set up from the lock
All
screen.
right. 1, 2, 3, hit.
That was really fast.
Yeah.
Actually, we've done this. We did this a few times in the office. The video app, which is even slower loading than the camera app typically is, loads faster on the 4S than the camera app does on the 4. So if you want to use this to take pictures, which a lot of people do, there's better camera phones out there, but they're not on particularly good phones a lot of the time. This gives you an opportunity to have a really nice camera in your pocket all the time.
It's really nice, but it's still not going to replace like a dedicated point-and-shoot camera.
A real
in terms
point
of
and
quality,
shoot, a big one, yeah.
A really a nice Canon.
Yeah. So camera definitely seems good. There's image stabilization on the video. It's 1080p. I'm a little bummed out that you can't actually set it to record 720p video, which is all I ever want.
Really? Okay.
Maybe in there somewhere. I just haven't found it yet. But I was a bit surprised to find it seems like it's locked to 1080p, which is going to eat hard drive
capacity
space, or flash space rather.
Yep. All right. So yeah, it's camera software. We noticed on mine there was a grid. That's a iOS 5.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of the stuff that feels new and awesome about the iPhone 4 is entirely related to iOS 5.
Which works fine on the 4.
Yeah, it's fantastic on the 4. It's even good on the 3GS. My dad put it on his 3GS. It reports no problems.
We have another video demoing all the new features in iOS 5.
Yeah.
So you can watch that if you want to run down.
Yeah.
It's another long video. There's also iCloud now launched.
iCloud really makes the phone feel amazing. The fact that I can take a picture here, it pops up on my Mac, on my iPad, on my Windows PC. Although, have you installed the iCloud connector for Windows yet?
I have not.
It is not very good. I'm hoping, it continues the Apple tradition of really, really terrible software for PC users. I'm hoping it'll improve it. I think there's already a patch coming. I don't know what's going on with that.
iCloud also lets you wirelessly sync a lot of your data, like your contacts, calendars, reminders, to iTunes, to iCloud.
Yeah, and keep it in line with different devices. Yeah. So across your iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, all of that stuff is shared. The camera roll we've talked about.
It's effectively a backup without being one large backup file.
Well, and then it also does backup, is the other side of it. But bookmarks, all of that kind of stuff. And then you can get in here and see, you can do your actual phone backups from the phone to iCloud. I don't know that I recommend that because it takes a lot of space if you have a bunch of pictures on your phone.
And if you have more than one iDevice, like iOS device,
it multiplies.
You multiply. So if you have two, you get 10 gigs?
No, if you have 2, you get 5 gigs.
Oh, there you go.
And each backup takes 2.5 gigs.
The backups multiply. The storage space in iCloud
not so much.
does not multiply. You got to buy more.
It's like $15-20 for 15 gigs for a year. It's not terribly expensive, but it's definitely not as cheap as, say, just straight S3 space is from Amazon.
Yeah. But again, iCloud comes with iOS 5, so it is on the iPhone 4.
Yeah.
What doesn't come in iPhone 4, not available, is Siri.
You Siri?
It's an iPhone 4's exclusive feature. And what does Siri do?
It's voice control. It's natural language voice control. So you say things like, "Hey Siri, what's the weather like outside?"
Here's the forecast for today through this Saturday.
Yeah. Ooh. And Siri knows from what you say that you want information. So if you say things like, Siri, I need a reminder for when I leave the office, don't forget the coffee maker.
Here's your reminder for when you leave work.
Boom.
It says, don't forget the
Can't believe it
coffee
actually
maker.
worked.
That was pretty amazing. I was actually skeptical whether it would work.
I was surprised too.
Confirm. That is a real reminder you need to create for
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm just going to press the button.
So how do you activate it by if it's off, you can double tap or hold down.
Just hold down the home button, and then you say things. It's a little finicky. You basically learn the types of natural language that work and that don't work. So things like, let's see, I'm going to send my wife a text because I like to text her. Siri, send my wife a message. Tell her I love her.
Here's your message to Gina Smith. It says, I love her.
So it's pretty good, except yes, please.
Okay, I'll send it.
You actually don't need to start your messages to Siri by saying Siri.
I like to.
You like
it makes
to.
me feel like
and
I'm
also
in the
you
future.
thank Siri, which you don't really need to.
You know,
it's not a real person there.
Hold on, watch this. Watch this. Siri, you're pretty awesome.
Was it something I said?
Okay, well, she gets a little confused sometimes. Siri's pretty neat. It's like I said, it's real up and down. It requires an internet connection to work. So this is
everything.
something.
So even dictation.
If you're in airplane mode, it says, "Hey, I can't find the network." Sorry.
Oh, really? Just even setting
Sorry,
appointments for yourself?
Siri. Yeah, you can't do any of that stuff with no internet connection. It seems like the service is a little bit up and down right now as they're kind of adjusting to the load. It worked fine Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This morning I kept getting unable to connect to the server messages. I'd assume that Apple will work that out.
How does it work when other people are talking?
Very, very poorly.
Okay.
So if the TV's on, if the dog's barking, if you're... In the car was actually fine. It picked out that noise. I think probably because the iPhone 4S has dual microphones, just like the iPhone 4 did.
And you can also hold the phone up to your ear.
Yeah, it works much better if you hold up to your ear, or if you have like a headset in.
So if you're not in a phone call, you actually don't need to hold the home button down. And if you're not locked, then if you're at the home screen, you can just put the phone up to your ear, and then Siri will launch.
Does that work? I haven't tried that.
Yeah. So if you're not in the lock screen, and hold it up, and you can just talk to Siri.
Hey Siri, tell Norm he's awesome. Didn't do anything. Maybe it has to be off. I don't know. These are all things that we'll figure out before we write the review. This is why we don't spend 3 days with something
why it's a quick
jam out a review. So Siri's neat. It's a little bit twitchy right now. It definitely doesn't work well in crowds. Any place there's a lot of background noise, it's bad, frankly. It's not worth upgrading your iPhone 4 to a 4S
Just
4.
to get Siri.
Wait until the next generation. They'll keep making it better. It'll continue to improve.
Yeah.
However, if you have a 3GS, or if this is your first taste of iPhone, this is a good iPhone to jump in on, it seems like, from early indications. There are a few other small things.
Yeah, we'll also be doing a full video with Siri to try out different Siri features and compare them with Android phones and other things in the future. So look out for that. Stop it. Not going to work. Like you said, there are 2 other small things that you might want to consider.
Yeah.
The difference between
it's louder.
4S. It is the speaker.
Both the speaker and on the direct to the ear is louder. It seems to work better with different hearing aids. My dad uses a hearing aid. I was talking to him about it yesterday. He loves the phone much more than his 3GS because it has better hearing aids.
When you say louder, it's noticeably louder.
Usually, when I'm using the phone in a BART station or something like that, I crank the volume all the way up. I can't take that much noise. I've been using it about half strength, which is good because the iPhone 4 was a little bit soft.
And then something we've also noticed is that at least on the new models of 4S, the screen is a little warmer.
It's both a little brighter and a little bit warmer.
Yep.
We're both on 25% brightness here. I'm going to load up tested. There it is right there. Oh, you're on the mobile site. I'm on the real site.
We're both on the mobile
Wait,
site.
no, we're both on the mobile site. That worked out.
And at a glance, it is noticeably warmer on the 4S.
Yeah.
You notice this on the Sprint version, the Verizon version, and the AT&T version.
They're all the same version.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway. So yeah, all in all, if you've been waiting to see what we think, I'm comfortable saying this is a phone worth getting. I did try to do the death grip stuff. None of that worked.
When you say not work, meaning like they fixed the problem.
The problem does not seem to exist anymore. If you do the pinch at the top of the phone, right up here, then yeah, you'll see bars drop.
Different grip.
Different grip. It works in my house where traditionally iPhones and AT&T hasn't worked. It seems like I've been getting better service there in general lately, so maybe they changed something on their end.
Can't credit that to the antenna design.
I can't. No, I can't isolate it to that because the iPhone 4 has been better, but not as good as this walking around the house. Although that stuff changes based on cosmic rays and all sorts of crazy stuff.
And converting to iPhone 4 to 4S really easy to upgrade.
Yeah, I mean the thing that the Apple Store text, we got a lot of emails after talking about this in the podcast a couple weeks ago. Apple Store text told us, do not, under any circumstances, restore a backup from one version of the iPhone hardware to a newer version of the iPhone hardware. Just start from scratch. You may save a couple of minutes on the setup, but it'll take you'll eventually pay for it in the end.
Use iCloud to sync your data.
Don't even do that.
Don't even do that.
Start as a new phone.
How to get your contacts.
You then reconnect your contacts to Gmail or wherever you save them, or through iCloud if you use iCloud.
Then. Okay.
But don't use the iCloud backup and the iTunes
use iCloud
backup.
data, but not the backup.
Exactly.
Okay, there you go.
So yeah, this is iPhone 4S. It's out now. It starts at $200 on contract with AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint. It's a 2-year contract. $40, $50 a month data plan, $25 a month, whatever you want. It's a pretty good phone. I like it.
All right.
Test it. I'm Will.
I'm Norm.
See you guys next time.
Bye.